Welcome to the channel. I'm Brett, and today I'm really excited to give an honest review of this VEVOR 3-in-1 welder. So this 3-in-1 welder features the abilities of TIG welding, your MMA or your stick welding, and cleaning welds if they've been discolored from heat like in stainless steel. So this welder is used for mild steel and for stainless steel. One of the great things about TIG welding, and that's one of the things I really like about this, is it doesn't spatter. Really clean welds, and it can do really thin metal as well. This unit's $317. To me, it's worth a lot more than that. It's a pretty capable welder, but these tanks are kind of expensive. So if you go to buy one of these units, please keep in mind that you also have to buy a tank for using this machine on TIG. So something else that this welder doesn't have is a foot pedal to regulate the current. And I haven't done a whole lot of TIG welding, but I didn't really miss not having the foot pedal. And the reason why is this is a completely digital display, and this is really user friendly as far as going through functions and getting everything set the way you want it. And this thing has some pretty impressive features like the pulse feature, so where you can have the foot pedal to regulate your current. This pulse setting kind of makes up for some of that, and I'll show you later on in a demonstration how that works. Up here in the upper right corner, you just choose what you want to do with the machine. So whether you want to do TIG, your MMA or your stick welding, or your cleaning. For your MMA, the only really adjustment you have is just adjusting your current. And you just take your stinger, plug it in, and put in a welding rod and start welding. If you're cleaning, same thing with a brush. That's about the only option you have. And then with your TIG welding, it gives you all kinds of different functions in order to perform the type of TIG welding that you want to do. So one of the things I was super impressed with is what you could do with a 110 volt setting on this welder. And so I want to get started with that and do that demonstration first, and then I'll get into the TIG welding. Okay, so for this demonstration, I'm going to be using 3/32 7018 welding rod. I'm going to be demonstrating on some 1/4 inch angle iron here, and I have my little Harbor Freight stinger. Just plugs in there, rod goes in there. The only function you have with your stick welding or MMA is just adjusting your current. I'll run this at 140 amps. Okay, so laying down a couple beads. Even at 110, it doesn't have a problem burning this bigger rod, but obviously you want to, if you have the ability, you obviously want to put it on the 220 setting. I have this plugged into my 240 volt outlet. I'm going to run this at 160 amps, and I'll show you what this looks like. As you can see, besides me doing a bunch of undercutting, this actually welds pretty well. I'm also excited to show the TIG function because you can weld super small metal, and I'm not that great at it, so I'm going to weld a little bit thicker metal, but you have the capability of welding some really small metal for arts and crafts, and maybe just doing repairs on your car, the body of a car, things like that. So these are pretty versatile as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started with a TIG welder. So this feature has no switch between 210 and 110. All you do is you just plug in the adapter, the 110 adapter to the 220 outlet, and you plug it into the wall. It'll sense whether it has 110 voltage or 210 voltage. So when you start with your TIG, if you do spot welding, and what's nice about TIG welding is you don't have to have any filler metal to do spot welding. So all you're gonna do, put it on spot, and you're gonna get it where you want it, hit the button, and it's going to put a small tack on there, and it's only going to go for a second. So even if you hold this button down, it doesn't matter, it's going to kick out. So even for your spot, you can sit here and adjust the amperage. So going from spot to just regular DC, DC means it's just going to be a solid line, just like you would like your stick welder. It's just going to just weld the whole time, start to finish. All you're going to do is just adjust your amps. But since you're going to use the gas, we'll just start left to right. We'll start with our pre-flow. That 1.0 is seconds. And what that means is When you go to weld and you hit this button, it's gonna put out gas for 1 second, and then your actual arc will turn on. So that pre-flow is going to push all the atmospheric gases out of the way so you don't have any contaminants in your weld. Your peak amps is how many amps you're going to be welding with. We'll do like 115. And then as we toggle again, we have our post flow, which is 7. I have it set to 7. Letting the gas go through the torch for a little while is going to be beneficial for a couple reasons. One, it's going to cool down your electrode. And two, you can use that gas to cool down your weld. And so you're going to want to take advantage of both those features with that post flow. For your 2T setting, all that means is you hit the trigger and you start welding. When you let off, your arc goes out, you're done welding. With 4T, you hit the button and you can do whatever you want now. It'll just keep welding and it won't stop until you hit this button again. And that's the difference between the 2T and the 4T. One is kind of more manual, the other one you hit it and it's more auto. You just weld and then after that you can hit the button to shut it off. The peak on time, that means 30% of the time, 40% of the time, whatever you want to set this at, is going to be the high amperage, and then the other, whatever percentage of the 100, 40%, 60% is going to be the cool portion. Your pulse frequency is how many times per second is it going to pulse. So I have it set for 4. Okay, your base amps, that's going to be your low amperage as it pulses. So for your pulse setting, what that means is you're going to start welding and your current is going to pulse between a high current and a low current. And what that's going to allow it to do is you're going to shoot a lot of current in, heat up the metal, and then for just a split second it's going to cool down a little bit, and then it'll heat back up and cool down and heat back up, and kind of control how much heat you're putting into your metal. So this is what the clear cup setup looks like. I'll go ahead and give this a try. So it's certainly able to see a little bit better with that clear cup. So I don't weld a whole lot of stainless steel, so I don't know if I'll ever buy the brush, but it's great to know that that's one of the features that this has. If you're kind of like thinking about, I want a welder that can really burn some heavy metal together, and maybe I'll just go get one of those tombstone welders from Lowe's or Home Depot, one of the Lincoln tombstone welders, or something from Harbor Freight. You might want to think about something like this. If you can use this for now, and then later on, get the bottle, because the bottle might be the biggest thing that turns people off having to buy the gas. And I know it did for me for a long time, and then I finally decided, I really want to TIG weld, and so I'm just going to bite the bullet and get the bottle. And especially the place that I go to, it's just a bottle swap. You buy the bottle once, and then it's about $40 to fill up the tank. If you're not ready to make that initial investment, but you still want a decent welder, I'd definitely get this, just burn some metal together, then later on pick up on the TIG stuff if that's what you want to do. So I absolutely recommend this unit. I have no loyalty to any corporation or anything like that. When I find things that I like or that help make my life easier, I like to share them with other people to make their life easier. So we greatly appreciate everyone who has subscribed to our channel and support our channel, and we look forward to putting out more videos to hopefully help you out with your projects around the house.